Good afternoon, all. I think this will be the concluding part for the field trip report. That is your report writing. Once you have gone through research design, data collection, data analysis, then at the end we have to write whatever the findings in a logical and systematic way. So today we will discuss that. Okay, this is your last subunit, concluding part. So in report writing, you must understand what is a report, why you will need to write a report. It's basically a short, sharp, concise document. That means it will not be voluminous, it will be a short. Oh. Then concise means it's pinpointed, focused as per the theme requires, not anything extra that describes peripheral things. Rather, we'll go for the focused thing related to the topic, and the purpose is mostly singular depending upon the theme, and it is basically targeted for the intended user groups, because all will not be the user group. It is not just not like a textbook. Then it is a factual paper. Whatever you are writing, it will be based on the facts and figures, and it needs to be clear and well structured. It has to be systematic, step by step, and clarity in the subject or the theme, starting from its conceptual design and the research questions and the objectives. Everything must be clear, unambiguous. Else, there will be overlapping of many aspects, so there will be confusion. Then it is aimed at diagnosing an issue, analyzing a situation or a problem, often making recommendations for the future actions. That means beforehand you should have some targeted issue in front of you. That means you must have the capability to understand an issue that you will conceptualize, design, and try to solve the problems depending upon the database you have collected, or the observations you have made, or the measurements you have taken. In this, the writing style and what are the contents or the materials to be included in this, and the language to use, because mostly these are scientific in nature, based on the data driven. So language has to be appropriate. It's not like, you know, writing a story or writing an essay. It should not be like this. The length of the document is also, it should also be appropriate. It should not be voluminous, as I said in the beginning. Unlike an essay where you write, you know, a lot of arguments, pros, cons, descriptives, then a lot of reasoning, uh, all those things are not extremely essential for it. Those will be there, but bare minimum. And the report basically concentrates on the facts and the figures what you have collected and analyzed. Then what should be the content of the report? Okay, as we said from the beginning, research design, identifying a research question, what you want to address, what has fascinated you, what are the lacking points or the gap areas. Those things are to be identified first. That means you have a problem in your hand to address, to search for a solution. In that way, as we are from the Department of Geography, acquainting with the geographic identity of the area is paramount because everything is interconnected. Suppose you are studying about the population, then you must also be acquainted with the environmental conditions, natural setup. Suppose you are looking for the natural setup, then how the people are intervening or affecting the natural setup. So both, that means you have human being interacting with the environment, the natural environment. That is why we must know that the geographic characteristics of the particular area. As you know, there are concepts like determinism, possibilism, stop and go theory. So many dimensions are there. That is why we must understand the geographic identity of the area. Then understanding the facets of the research question through literature review. You are not the first one to do on that theme. Many people have already worked, but still there are certain gap areas. As the research studies are going on, many things are explored, invented, resolved, solutions are provided, but still, if you go into the deeper into the content and context, then you will find something is still there to be resolved, or within these intervening years or intervening time, new things have come up. So you need a proper or the newer understanding. So that is why literature review is required. What has already been done will not be repeated by you. So you will find out what are the gaps, what are the deficiencies, where it has not been transacted or the study has not been done. Those things are to be found. Then developing strategies for obtaining an answer. Strategies means you have to design a sequence of steps what you will do to reach or obtain that answer. So what you do, as you have already stated, you can go for the sampling, you can go to the field, you can prepare questionnaire, you can collect data, you can tabulate, you can analyze. So all these are the required steps that you will do or work out for obtaining the answer. Then what you do, the data collection. As you know, as you have already experienced, you had a set of questionnaire, then you had gone to the field and you have a data set with you. All of you have given their data and all those are being compiled, and I will distribute in a day or two so that all of you get the same data set, that is comprising 38 students data. So you will be picking up your part of the data and analyzing it. Suppose somebody is working on the health, then you will take the person affected by some disease or illness, how much how many days they were in the hospital, how much is the medical expenditure, what are the conveniences or inconveniences in getting medical attention, all those. Likewise, once you have your data with you, then you will go for the next step, that is your data analysis. Okay, then evaluation and interpretation. So once you have analyzed data, you will get some result, you will evaluate, as we discussed, the level of confidence, whether it is fitting, whether you will accept it or reject it. Then you will go for the interpretations depending upon your knowledge, ground conditions, what you have interacted with the people there. So likewise, you will um, you know writing all those in stepwise manner. Then at the end, once you have gone through all those processes, then you will write the conclusion, the concluding statements, and present the findings to the audience. That means those will be users. Here specifically first one is for your exam perspective, but still the document can be used by users at government level, or NGO level, or you know, anybody who is interested in this sort of data and the remedial measures what you are going to prescribe. You know, in this we have like chapterizations. As we proceed for the report writing, we must think of chapterization. What will be the actual content within it? What you are going to write step by step. First one is the title page. Then you will be getting a certificate authenticating that means you are a genuine student. Then you have worked on this field trip. Then you have compiled data, you have analyzed data, then you have got your result on your own. uh, Plagiarism in the PhD level, there is PhD MP level, that is called plagiarism. So those things will not be applicable to you at this stage, but still those are important. Then you will be acknowledging, say, the university or your friends or somebody who has, you know, helped you during this pursuit. Then you will be writing the content, then the list of figures, the tables, list of photographs. Then, as it is a field work, you will be writing the tour diary. Tour diary means what? Your starting date to end date. That means when you are back during these intervening days, where you have gone, what you have done, whether questionnaires you have collected, or you have gone for observations, you have interacted with people, you have interviewed with people, like those you will be writing in the comment section of the tour diary. Then list of appendix. Suppose your data is voluminous, then you can add those in the appendix. Or you wanted to, cite some reports, you can put all those things in the appendix, not in the body chapter. Then you will come to the chapters. Like chapter 1 is your introduction, we'll discuss step by step. Then next will be your thematic overview. Depending upon the themes you have been assigned, you will be writing. You will not be writing thematic overview. You will be replacing the thematic overview with an appropriate heading. So what are the themes you have been assigned? For the social, the humanities side, you have the demography, education, income, household assets, cost of living, health and hygiene, occupation, then political aspects, policies, government policies, population and migration, infrastructure. Then you have the settlement and housing. Those who are working on the physical side, physical geography side, for them they will be submitting the questionnaires, but they will be working on the aspects they have selected or been given. What are those things? Like hydrology, groundwater, terrain condition or terrain analysis, geomorphology, geomorphological mapping, landform classification, topography and hypsometry, soil and agriculture, rainfall versus topography, vegetation, NDVI, EVI, all those things. Then once you have worked on this thematic overview, then you will go for your data analysis and presentation. Again, here also you will not write data analysis and presentation as the chapter heading. Rather, you have to write an appropriate heading depending upon your theme. Then your fourth chapter will be the conclusion. After that, if you have any appendix to add there, you can add. Then you will write the references. So in the title page, if you see, uh, we have what? The work or the theme which you have been assigned. Accordingly, you will write the title of the field report. So it will be, font will be Times New Roman, font size will be 20, and accordingly you will write one by one. Then submission statement, okay, like this. Submission statements. Field trip report submitted in Rajiv Gandhi University in partial fulfillment of the of the requirement for the degree a master in arts in the Department of Geography. Likewise, you will go. Then it will be submitted by your name, then roll number, all these things. The the format is there. I will send the format in the group so that it is universal. That means the same style will be for all. Nobody will change the format. Then you have the logo of the university. Then under the guidance, then the department details. Okay, so like this you have to incorporate all these aspects on the title page, which will also go as the cover page or you of your field trip report. Okay, then uh, as you go, next are the intermediate pages. As you discuss, certificate, everything will be one page. Certificate from the office will be one page. Acknowledgement should be one page. Content, definitely it is going to be one page. It will not much lengthy content is there. List of figures, list of tables, list of photographs, tour diary, all these things will be uh, intermediate pages there. Then next will be your introduction. Okay, introduction is basically introducing your work, research idea, then how you have reached to selecting that theme, then how you are going to collect the data, then what sort of methodology you are going to you know select or apply. Okay, then the significance of study. If you'll see the statement of the problem first, that means what is the problem you see, geographic description of it. Then the research questions. What is there in front of you to ask for where there is no answer till now? So these are slightly intricate thing, but you have to think of and write in an appropriate way. Then introducing the geographic and administrative location with a location map. As you see the location map here, I have added, you had gone to the Sikkim districts. Okay, so the map should have appropriate content of it. That means a title, a neat line, lat long, all these things will tell you at the end. Then next is your thematic overview. Okay, what is it? It is describing the broader perspective of the theme which you have selected. As you have already discussed, you have to work on it by using the secondary data to understand the holistic or larger scale scenario. Okay, to derive meaningful information, you should have information about the state level, regional level. As this is Sikkim is the northeast context. Then national level scenario. If it is important, you can also compare international scenario. Basically comparing where the database or where the scenario stands, whether it is above national level or below national level, whether it is at par or not, intervention required or not, promotion required or not. So many aspects can be covered in this. So use of geographical depiction, like highlighting, comparing the district level or northeast level data. Say here what I have done for you, like population size Sikkim. So you have already gone through the regression analysis. You must have used the Excel during your second semester. So likewise you can plot like 1901 to 2011 data, population data for the population size, and the red line is actual data and the blue line is the projected. That is curve fitting, that is called simply, but it is not projection, it's curve fitting only. For the projection we can use, next one is the ARIMA. Okay, In that, what we are using? The year, the population data, and next will be population year minus 10. That means previous decade data. So by using a regression model, we can find out what will be the intercept and what will be the slope a and b there. Then accordingly we can calculate how much will be the population in 2021. So this is population projection. Then you can use also like uh, the literacy hotspots. This is geospatial technique, that means spatial analysis. If you see, then you have the um, what hotspots and the cold spots, those are called. So you can contact or you can consult me if you want this sort of analysis in your project report. Then this is simply a graphical representation of the male female. Okay, so this is stacked percentage, 100% bar graph. So you all know all these things. So likewise you will be preparing a thematic overview for your theme, that you will get, as we discussed earlier, you will get it the secondary data from the census or any other data sources what we have already discussed. Then uh, you can go through the publications as we have already discussed, like Jester or any other source for um, literature review. So from that you will get all those things. Then uh, before we go to analysis part, so you should take note of the requirements basically. As you know, we have gone to the field. Basically, we collect data on the human part, human aspect, physical aspect. Like human means information about the people, cities, tourism, settlement, industry, like that. Then the physical part, information about the natural phenomena or landscapes like river, mountain, hydrological conditions, rainfall temperature. Then you have the primary data. Okay, we have already discussed data types, primary data, secondary data. Most of you have collected, why most of you? All of you have collected primary data, but all may or may not use, because those who are working on the physical part may not need that much rigorous human or the social geography side data, but anyhow they will be using it for man environment relations. Then next is the statistical analytical methods. We had one what presentation for the data analysis. If you see there, we have mentioned the statistical methods what we use in geography in a common, and you will also be using while you have the data with you. Say mean, median, mode, skewness, kurtosis, range, standard deviation, correlation, regression, analysis of residuals, chi-square, t-test, ANOVA, all these you have in your syllabus. Then besides that, if you are interested, you can have factor analysis, discriminant analysis, then a classification, hierarchical classification, and then principal component analysis, nearest neighborhood analysis. That was in your second semester. One of your you know classmates has done that, nearest neighborhood analysis. Then Gini's coefficient and Lorentz curve to find out the inequality in terms of their wealth, in terms of their income. Then moving average, ARIMA, what I have already discussed in the previous slide. So likewise, you will have a lot of data analytical methods which you can think of to use and generate reliable, dependable, and authentic results. Then what you will do in your third chapter, data analysis and presentation. Accordingly, the title has to be written as per your theme. what you have to do first? Segregate data as per the requirement. Why segregate data? Because this is a questionnaire which is combined for various aspects. So all these things which have been mentioned are covered in the questionnaire. So as you will be picking up a narrow theme, so you will be picking up only those database or the data columns which are required for your analysis, not all. Okay, then for preliminary understanding, you can use pivot table in the MS Excel. This you must have also gone through your second semester. How to count, how to find out the sum total, various observations can be made from the pivot table because it provides a condensed view of the data. Then analyze data as per the requirements. How you analyze? First, you have to think of what should be the analytical methods you are going to use. So, out of these, okay. Then present the condensed data as well as the result in graphics and maps. So you can utilize the result either by showing the graphical form or map form. Okay, then you can go to the hypothesis testing. If you have put some hypothesis, whether you are going to find out whether it is the general or the prevalent conditions or not, that means you are formulating one hypothesis, whether you are going to accept or reject that hypothesis, and you can write about those. Interpret the result and explore conditions leading to the results. Here you have to find out why that particular result has been derived. So you have to find out the underlying conditions, what what are responsible for this sort of result, because you have also interacted with people there during your field trip, field visit. Then prescribe ways to overcome these hurdles. If there is some negative aspects that will come up in your result, then those are hurdles, those are drawbacks, bottlenecks. So how you can prescribe certain measures to overcome these hurdles, or you can say the deficiencies on the basis of the literature. If you've done, you will get some information or already established you can say interventions by the government or NGO to overcome those hurdles. Say for the illiteracy, if the distance is a factor, then what you can prescribe? The school distance should be reduced from the villages. So instead of one house on one school for 10 villages, that can be reduced to one school for 3 villages, because in Sikkim many villages have few population. As you have seen in the last video, I said there are only 25 students in one school. So managing schools with 10 students is difficult, expensive, because teachers will be there, infrastructure will be there. So you have to find out a trade-off, how economically it will be viable, whether it is possible or not, so resources are available for that or not. So there are so many ways to think, analyze, and use own idea to prescribe the measures to strengthening or augmenting the existing facilities for benefit to the society, or how it can be some prescriptive methods can be suggested for overcoming the lacuna or deficiencies. I think this will be sufficient for you to include in your uh, report writing. Then next we'll see the additional points you must focus on to make the field trip report or the fieldwork report presentable, look good, structured. So in that we have to keep in mind certain aspects. First thing, it's text. Text means the main headings. As I said already, the whole report will have only one font, that is your Times New Roman. When you are when you are writing main heading, it should be size 12 and bold. Subheading, it will be Times New Roman, same font, 12 size, regular, no bold, no italics. Then body text will be Times New Roman, size 12, regular and justified. That means the left side and right side should have a line. Hmm. Then line spacing within the paragraph, it will be 1.5. Don't make it 2 or don't make it, keep it 1. Then while starting a paragraph, you should take care of the indents. The first line should be half inch from the left side. That means it's indent 0.5 inch. Spacing after paragraph should be 12 points so that the paragraphs are clearly visible. So don't make it clumsy by having no space between paragraphs. Then next is your tables and graphs. Okay, tables must not be split and carried over to the next page. Why? The table will lose its essence in explaining. Table should be at a glance view. So when you are typing the text like village name or say what you have, the occupation will be code. Mm, any other thing like bank's name, or you have like place of hospital visited, so those are text. So text will be left aligned, and the numbers like income, then number of cattle, number of you know any other thing which is expressed in the number in your questionnaire and your data table, so it will be right aligned. Mm, be careful about that. You must not have it center or left, which doesn't look good, as well as on principle it is wrong. Then fixed width codes, say like you have the what, the occupation code A B C D E, so those are single alphabet, so you can put it in the center, center aligned within the cell or in a column. Then graphs must be appropriate in size. So many cases it has been seen one small pie diagram is placed for the full page, which is you know inappropriate in terms of visual appreciation and aesthetics. So it should be appropriate in the size. You can handle those figures by looking into the placements. There are many options which are available in the MS Word, so you can arrange those graphs appropriately. Then the maps. Okay, maps. Maps must have perfect or appropriate aspect. That means the dimension of north, south, and dimensions of east, west must be proper. You cannot pull, must not pull from the sides, else the whole shape of the state will get distorted, which is never expected from geography students. So be careful about that. Always check or the tick mark on the aspect ratio, then pull it from the corner so that zoom in or zoom out, enlarging or reducing the map will have that aspect. Then maps must have latitude, longitude, north arrow, scale, title in the board face. It should have index and a neat line. That means a box within which everything will be there. You must have seen, or you can rewind and see how the maps are there in this class lecture or the slides. Okay, use portrait or landscape according to the shape of the area. Say when you are having Arunachal Pradesh, then it has to be landscape. You are drawing for the whole of northeast, then it will be portrait. If you are looking for Sikkim, then it will be portrait. For the whole of northeast, it will be landscape because slightly extended on the longitude side. That means if the longitudinal extension is more, then you go for the landscape. If the latitudinal extension is more, you go for the portrait. Okay, then you also put photographs. Select only photographs which are necessary and represent the content as well as context. Don't put anything unnecessarily because it will increase the volume and it will also create a wrong impression, bad impression that you do not understand the relevance of that photograph. Okay, then the photograph has to be clear, and the aspect ratio must be preserved. Else, what will happen? The house, which is, you know, look, instead of looking normal, it will be looking like a what? A tower. So you have to be careful while having photographs in your report. Then go for the proofreading. That is more important. You must be careful about the spelling as well as the grammar. There should not be error in it. Then there should be proper sequence. Okay, sometimes what depending upon the chronology we arrange, sometimes we depending upon the importance of the theme or sub theme or the topic we arrange. So you have to find out how we are going to sequence. Suppose you are going for literature review, then the sequencing will be chronological. And suppose you are describing a scenario, then it has to be national, then regional, then the state, then the district. You cannot or must not mix up national, district, regional. No. That will again create bad impressions. The sequencing has to be in order. Then pagination. Pages you must be mentioning at the bottom, center. Then at the last, you will have the references. Again, references will be in the alphabetical order, not as per you have used in your literature review or in chapters. Anywhere you have uh, quoted, so it has to be in alphabetical order in the references, and it should have hanging indent. you know just like the first line will have extended towards left by half an inch. I think these are the basic formats or ways and the tips also for writing the report. Okay, I hope you understood all this, and thank you, and best wishes for your report writing. With this, I thank you all. Thanks.